Hey everyone, and welcome. So, I want you to picture something. Imagine you're walking through a city park at night, but instead of being under the harsh glare of electric streetlights, you're guided by this soft, living glow coming from the plants all around you. Well, today we're diving into the incredible story of how that's becoming a reality.
I mean, it's a question that sounds like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie, right? This idea of a world where our infrastructure is literally alive, totally sustainable, and, well, beautiful. But what if I told you that future is way, way closer than you think? That's right, this is not a concept. It's not some far-off dream. As of April 2026, this technology has officially moved out of the lab and onto the streets in major Chinese cities. The urban jungle is quite literally starting to blow. Now, glowing plants themselves aren't totally new. Some of you might even remember the firefly petunia that made a splash back in 2024. But what's happening now is a massive, massive leap forward. We've gone from a single novelty flower to a genuine urban lighting solution. So this huge breakthrough, led by Dr. Li Renhan at Magicpen Bio working with South China Agricultural University, it's just on a completely different scale. We're not talking about just one type of flower here. They have successfully engineered over 20 different species. Think about that. Everything from sunflowers and shrubs to these elegant orchids, all specifically designed with one purpose in mind: to light up our cities. Okay, so the big question is, how did they do it? How do you actually convince a sunflower to glow in the dark? Well, it turns out there isn't just one answer. The researchers are actually using two totally different and frankly fascinating scientific methods to create these living lights. On one hand, you've got this permanent genetic hack. This is where they use genes from fireflies and glowing fungi to give the plant its own built-in, self-sustaining light source. Then on the other hand, there's a non-permanent method: nanoinjection. This approach basically turns the plant's leaves into tiny, rechargeable solar batteries. Two very different ways to get the job done, and both get incredible results. So let's dig into that genetic approach first. Scientists are using CRISPR to insert a gene for an enzyme called luciferase. That's the catalyst, the spark plug, if you will. This enzyme then gets to work on luciferin, which is the fuel that actually emits the light. But here is the real game changer: the power source. See, earlier versions of these plants needed special sprays to work, but these new ones, they use caffeic acid, something the plant already makes on its own, to power the whole reaction. That means as long as the plant is healthy, it glows. It's totally self-sufficient. And now for the other method: nanoinjections. With this one, scientists inject a solution loaded with strontium and aluminum nanoparticles right into the leaves. These little particles then act just like tiny batteries. They soak up sunlight all day long and then release it at night as a visible glow. But the coolest part, the key advantage here, is the versatility. By just tweaking the ratio of the metals, they can actually change the color of the light. Okay, the science is absolutely mind-blowing. But what does this actually mean for our cities? Why does this really matter? Well, the real-world benefits go so far beyond just looking cool. This is about building a greener, healthier, and way more sustainable place for us all to live. Let's just talk about energy for a second. In Beijing, they've set up these pilot projects creating what they call luminescent alleys, and the results are already incredible. The data is showing that by replacing even just some of the traditional LED streetlights with these plants, a district can cut its electricity bill for lighting by 15 to 20%. For a city, that is a huge saving. And, it's not just about the energy saved. It's also about the quality of the light. One source describes it as a soft, diffused, cold light. What that means is it doesn't create that harsh glare, that excess heat, or that aggressive light pollution that we've all gotten so used to from our current streetlights. And that brings us to a massive ecological benefit. We know for a fact that standard LED lights really mess with the natural cycles of birds, insects, and other nocturnal animals. But the gentle glow from these plants, it's far, far safer for the local ecosystem. It allows us to light our cities for people without harming the wildlife that shares our space. So we've seen the huge impact this is having in citywide projects over in China, but where does this technology go from here? Well, the next big step is to bring this entire revolution from the park right into our living rooms. All right, now we do need to manage expectations just a little bit here. The one catch, for now, is that the light is still pretty subtle. The source material put it perfectly. Think moonlight, not a stadium floodlight. So it's perfect for creating a mood, for lighting a pathway, but we won't be replacing massive highway lamps with glowing orchids. Well, at least not yet. But here's the part that is really going to get you excited. The developers are targeting the second half of 2026 for a mass market consumer release. That's not some far-off future. That is right around the corner. This tech could be in your home very, very soon. Seriously, just think about that for a second. Imagine having a beautiful houseplant on your desk that is also your reading lamp. A lamp that you never have to plug in, that's also purifying the air, and all you have to do is water it. It's a complete reimagining of the everyday objects around us. You know, this is so much more than just a glowing plant. It is a genuine glimpse into a future where that line between nature and technology just blurs away. So I'll leave you with this. If our lamps can be alive, what other parts of our world could be? It's a pretty fascinating question to think about. Thanks so much for tuning in.